She was burying something in the backyard under the moonlight. I could see her from my room, her shadow long and bent as she dug with her bare hands. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. Something told me it wasn't just dirt she was covering. Growing up, I didn't remember much about my real mother. She died when I was 4, and it was just me and my dad for years. When he married Aunty Nnenna, I thought it would be nice to have someone to help us. At first, she was kind. She would braid my hair and tell me stories at night, but that didn't last long. The first time I realized something was wrong was when our dog, Obi, went missing. I found his collar near the bush at the back of the house. But when I asked Aunty Nnenna, she just shrugged. Dogs wander off, she said, her voice cold. Then things started happening. Small things. Food would spoil overnight, even if it was fresh the day before. My school uniform went missing, only to reappear a week later, torn and dirty. But the scariest part was the dreams. I would wake up at night, gasping after seeing Aunty Nnenna standing over me, whispering things I couldn't understand. One night, I woke up to a noise outside. I crept to the window and saw her in the backyard digging. She was muttering to herself, her head jerking every few seconds. She didn't use a shovel, just her hands. I was too scared to move, too scared to breathe. The next morning, I pretended nothing happened. But I went to check the spot when she wasn't looking. The dirt was freshly packed, and there were faint marks in the soil, like something had been dragged there. I told my dad, but he didn't believe me. He said I was imagining things because I missed my real mom. Aunty Nnenna overheard and gave me a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Children should mind their own business, she said later. When my dad wasn't around, a week later I got sick, really sick. My stomach hurt so much I couldn't eat. My dad rushed me to the hospital, but they couldn't find anything wrong. I stayed home from school, and every day Aunty Nnenna would bring me tea. She would sit on the edge of my bed and watch me drink it, her eyes unblinking. That's when I remembered something my grandmother once told me before she passed. Not every smile is kind, she had said. Watch the people who are too eager to help when you're weak. I stopped drinking the tea. I didn't tell her, just poured it out when she wasn't looking. Slowly, I started to feel better. One day, I decided to look in her room. I knew it was dangerous, but I couldn't ignore the feeling that something was wrong. In her wardrobe, behind her clothes, I found a small clay pot filled with something black and sticky. Wrapped around it was a piece of cloth, my school uniform. That night, I stayed awake, pretending to sleep. I heard her come into my room, whispering under her breath. She stood over me for a long time, then left. The next morning, I told my dad everything. At first, he didn't believe me. But when I showed him the clay pot, his face changed. He confronted Aunty Nnenna and she laughed. It wasn't the laugh of someone caught. It was a laugh that chilled my blood. You think you can stop what's already been set in motion, she said. She packed her things and left that same night. After she was gone, the house felt lighter, like something heavy had been lifted. My dad never talked about her again, and I didn't ask. But sometimes, late at night, I dream about her. In the dream, she's standing outside my window, smiling,